What's up, you guys? Welcome to another video and welcome to my channel. If you are a new subscriber or a new viewer on here, please, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and be part of the Next Z channel. Definitely this video is going to have a background music because the noise that is outside my bedroom, I cannot stand it. I am looking forward to staying alone when that time comes. Yeah, I just needed to have that little rant. Anyways, on today's video, it's a video that I think it's very much necessary. I have made a video like this before, but I feel that when I was making that video, I was starting out on YouTube. I was not as confident as I am right now, or rather comfortable as I am right now with the space. So yeah, I decided to refilm it, and it is definitely on postpartum depression. I've had 3 people who were watching that video and they came back to me for consultation, and they did not know me, but they tracked me down on my social media platforms, and some were referred by subscribers on this channel to go check the video out and hoping that it would assist them. So the one thing that makes me think that the video didn't have a lot of information, as much as I did put out a lot of things about myself during my own personal experience with postpartum depression, I feel that there is something that lacks on that video, because every time a person watches that video, they always feel the need of finding me on my socials and like pouring out their hearts to me and hoping that I might have something else to add on to whatever I have shared on that video. So yeah, this is quite a super duper long intro, so let's just simply get into it. Okay, so the number one thing that I would like us to talk about is the stigma that is surrounding depression, especially in the Black community. We are not gonna act like it's a common thing for one to come out and say, oh, I'm suffering from depression or I have stress. We barely tell our people, like the people around us, that we are stressed, or they can't even pick it up. You know, this weekend I was with my partner, and at some point I was stressed out by something. So I had stress, and to my surprise, my partner could not pick up that I have stress, and also he couldn't pick up what was stressing me. So most of the times, even the people that are around us, the people that loves us, our families and our loved ones, they might not be able to pick up that you are not coping, that you are going through something. Yes, eventually when you've been going through a situation for a long time, they're obviously going to notice some behavioral changes, but in most cases people don't even pick up those behavioral changes, and even when they do, it still doesn't kick into them to say this person might be suffering from depression, any type of depression, by the way. So it's generally difficult for loved ones to pick up when one has depression, because depression is not something that we talk about in Black families. And I think that is where the problem is for now victims, or for people who suffer from that condition. So I'm gonna take you guys back to my experience, just in case if you haven't watched that video, but I would suggest you watch it, because it is through that video that I got to be invited at the TV show Raising Babies 101, which plays on SABC2. By the way, the episode will be aired on the 23rd of November. I think it will be on a Monday. I'm really praying that it gets aired while I am with my daughter. I just want to see my daughter's reaction when she sees her mom on TV. So yeah, on the 23rd of November, Nestle will be on your TV screens on SABC2 at 9 AM. I'd like to believe, but obviously when all that is about to happen, I'll make sure that I alert you guys and just hype up to that day. So as I was saying, I'm gonna take you guys a little bit back to that video. So I fell pregnant in late 2017, right? So throughout 2018 I was pregnant, and I gave birth in July. I fell pregnant at a time when I was supposed to go to Japan to do Miss Africa Tourism International pageant. I had been crowned, actually when I fell pregnant, I had been crowned Miss Africa Tourism 2018. So the following year I was supposed to go and compete in an international stage, and I think my partner and I were just celebrating the fact that I was crowned, because literally my daughter got conceived on the weekend after I got crowned. So like my partner came over and we spent like, I think I'm giving too much details. Anyways, yeah. So you can just imagine how I mean, I had worked throughout the year of 2017 as a Miss Africa finalist, and a lot goes down into these beauty pageants, you guys. It's not just about practicing your work. Your money goes into it, your energy goes into it, your mental health goes into it. A whole lot of things just goes into pageantry. So you can just imagine how hard I had worked throughout 2017, and now hoping to work even harder in 2018, and then boom, unplanned pregnancy, baby girl. Unplanned pregnancy with pageants, those cannot mix. Those are not two things that can be done at the same time. So I had to let go of that opportunity of going to compete in Japan. And at that particular moment, I felt like my plans, my life was just crushed right before my eyes. Because, you know, as a young, ambitious person, you always have like a vision board of some sort, even if you don't draw it out, but you have it in your mind. Like, you have a vision of how you want your life to play out, and you plan it according to how you see it. So I had planned everything. Like, I had planned the years that were coming after I have competed in Miss Tourism International. I had planned everything out. So seeing all of that crashing down before me, it really sent me off. Okay, the other thing that I would like to think was the reason that led me to fall into postpartum depression, besides the fact that I had to like let go of the dreams that I had had for so long. And I think the other thing is that during my childhood, I was quite dark and I was a little bit chubby, and I had always thought I would never make it in the pageantry industry. And to now see how my insecurities were proven wrong, and while they were proven wrong, at the same time, that positivity, that hope felt like it was being snatched away by my pregnancy. And the other thing that really sent me into the pits, it was definitely my finances. So as I have said, like, my pregnancy was not planned, so my financial life was in shambles. Okay, I was nowhere near having a child, because at that time I had responsibilities. Like, there were projects and there were things I was doing with my money, and I just did not plan for a kid at that particular time. And babies are expensive. Okay, those little human beings, they are cute, they are adorable, but they are flipping expensive. So that was my other issue. As soon as I found out that I was pregnant, I knew that I had to start creating money. Like, I need to have money available more than what I had before. So I started to stop doing the things that I loved for myself and tried to save as much as I could. And also I was trying so hard to like get rid of the debts that I had at that particular time. And I remember, I think I had a loan that I had taken, so I had to pay that in 6 months. And I was just rushing to get out of debts, because I wanted, by the time the baby comes, I would be like financially free, some sort, in a way. So I deprived myself a lot of things to make sure that I save funds. And with that, I didn't realize that with me depriving myself of like a nice maternity clothes, depriving myself of those massage and all that, I didn't realize that it was actually having an effect on my emotions. I didn't realize that it was actually causing a damage on my emotions and on my thoughts. So now, I remember at some point when I was pregnant, I had a consultation. So my doctor, who was also a friend of mine, said to me, in one of my visits, he did a mental status examination, and he said to me, you know what, Z, I don't think you are enjoying this pregnancy, or you are taking it quite well. I think one of the reasons that made him to actually want to talk to me about that, it was because he knew how bad I wanted to do this pageantry things. And he was actually one of the people that were supporting me, voting for me and all that. So he knew the passion that I had for it, and the passion that I had about my future, and just the entire whole vision. He knew all those prior to the pregnancy. So I think he could see, not only as a medical doctor, but also as a friend, that this is not the Zanele that I'm used to. This is not the Zanele that I know. And he actually told me, I think I was about 7 months or 8 months pregnant at that time. He said to me, you know what, I don't think you're taking this pregnancy very well. I think you are being too hard on yourself. He actually said that. I said, I think you are being too hard on yourself. Z, watch a movie. Do something for yourself. Don't even do it for the baby. Do something that will make you feel good about yourself, that will make you feel happy. Satisfy yourself. Satisfy your desires, your current desires, not your tomorrow, not the baby's tomorrow needs and all that. So I was so concerned and so obsessed with the idea of being able to give my daughter everything when she arrived, to a point where I neglected myself. And that, I think it built up, because during pregnancy I don't think I was really feeling much of the pain and all that. During pregnancy, of the emotional pain and all that, during the pregnancy I think I was just strong. So fast forward, I give birth to my daughter, and I think a month into giving birth to my daughter I was okay, until we moved to EC. So I gave birth in Northwest, and then I stayed here for a month, and then I went home with my mom, who had came to Humbaya State. I don't know what it is in English, but she had came to spend some time with me during my postpartum. So we went to Eastern Cape, and I went to spend my 4 months of maternity leave at home. That's when things started to cripple or come on me like a heavy cloud. Okay, I would be on my PJs the whole day, and I would have episodes of wanting to be alone in my room and wanting to be with the baby. Like, I would want the baby to just lie there, and I lie next to the baby, and I would just listen to my emotions, feeling like a dark cloud, feeling uneasy, feeling restless. I would sleep most of the time, and if I wasn't sleeping, I would just lie in bed and not talk to anyone, not socialize with my parents. And my parents are amazing. Yeah, I am back, looking a little bit different. So I just had a mini load shedding. The electricity came back, had to put my hair back, but now it refuses to go back to the hairstyle that I had before this video. The hair was like, nosy, we out, we done, but I'm like, we're doing this. So yeah, we're back, you guys. I moved. I went to the Eastern Cape for exactly a month after I gave birth, right? Because I wanted to be in an environment that was just peaceful. I needed an atmosphere that was different from the atmosphere that is around where I am currently staying in NW, like the city's atmosphere basically. I wanted to be at home in EC, and I went home when my daughter was 1 month. So I think this is what started everything. My daughter started getting sick, right? She developed eczema. I was very much in denial when the doctor diagnosed her of asthma, and I just didn't want to accept that. I mean, I'm a Christian after all, right? And I am a professional nurse. It's okay for me to see sicknesses and diseases and diagnoses on other people, but it is very difficult for me to accept them when they're coming into the people that I love and the people that are close to my heart, let alone my daughter. So my daughter started getting sick, I think when she was turning 2 months, and that's when I just lost it. I sank deep into the thoughts, into not feeling okay. Some days I would wake up and feel like I'm the best, and I would be on social media updating statuses and stuff like that, and the following day I'm like, oh, I feel like I live in a world of my own, like people are living their lives and I'm just stuck in this dark bubble. Okay, like I think that's how it feels like. You feel like people are living their lives and they don't understand, and nobody will understand you, and there is no need to explain because like nobody's gonna get it anyways, and you just close yourself into this bubble. And to some extent you will even feel some disconnection towards the baby. I know when it is severe, there are even thoughts and actions of child harming. So with me, I was very protective of my daughter. I didn't want anybody near her except my parents. Like, I literally wanted her to be around me or around my parents and nobody else. Like, I was just so protective of her. And there went, I don't think there was an excitement, oh, I'm a young mom and all that. Well, the excitement was there only when I was going for shopping, like when I would go and shop for the baby. Like whenever I would go to the mall, see nice baby clothes and I would buy them, that brought me so much joy. I think it fed on the need that developed during my pregnancy, when I felt I want to get everything that I can for my daughter. Like, I want to get her everything she needs and be able to provide for her as much as I could. So I think me going out and shopping and like feeling a little bit better, it was like feeding that void that had developed throughout the pregnancy. When did I realize I was having a problem? I realized that I was having a problem when I started having suicidal thoughts. And you know, as a professional nurse, I've always thought like suicidal thoughts are like gruesome thoughts, are like hectic thoughts of wanting to, like, I don't know, just kill yourself in the most painful and the most ruthless way, right? If I wasn't a professional, I think, if you are not a professional, I think it would be a little bit difficult for you to identify suicidal thoughts, because sometimes you would think or look at them as just that, a thought, and it only takes a thought for the body to react. So I started having like suicidal thoughts, especially when I was driving. I would feel like I could drive my car into a valley. So in the Eastern Cape, those who are coming from the Eastern Cape, they know Eastern Cape is quite a mountainous province. So literally in your village, you will have valleys and mountains, and yeah, it's just that beautiful. So every time I would find myself alone in the car, I would feel like I should drive myself into a valley, and I would literally think about the details of what would happen if I was gonna do that. Like, I would think about like the car is gonna start to lose control and just roll down the valley with me, and when it gets down the valley, it crashes and it might burn, and ambulances and police obviously gonna come to the scene, and they might not even know that it was suicide. They might think I have lost control of the car, and I would even imagine it to a point where I would imagine cops going to my parents' house, like to tell my parents that I was in an accident and I like died. And the one thing that would always made me snap out of those thoughts, it was the thought of my daughter growing up without a mom. Like that would just wipe off those thoughts instantly. The thought of not being able to see her grow, and the thought of her not knowing me, you know, simply because of the cloud that I'm constantly feeling. And when I look back now, like when I look back at that particular period of my life, I realized that it wasn't as bad as it felt. But during that time, it felt like I had no reason to be doing life the way I was doing it at that particular time, which it wasn't even that bad, because I was literally getting everything that I needed from my parents, except the fact that they couldn't see that I was going through something. And I also couldn't tell them, because I didn't know how to tell them. As much as I am a professional nurse, like as I've said earlier on, that it is difficult to speak about depression, any form of depression. So it would have been difficult to speak about postpartum depression, to even explain what postpartum depression is to my traditional parents, you know. I remember speaking to one of my friends, actually a best friend of mine, Kate Lachayo, shout out to that girl. She pulled me through my pregnancy, my postpartum depression. She pulled me through until she saw me being back to the old Z that I was prior everything else. So shout out to such people, shout out to such friends who will stay on the phone calls with you day in, day out, who will check up on you, who will text you, and when you are okay, they draw back, and every time you fall down, they come forward. Shout out to such friendships. So I remember telling Kate that, you know, Kate, I think that Kate was actually the first person I said it out loud to. I said, Kate, I think I have depression. I think I have postpartum depression, and I don't know how am I going to tell my parents. At that particular time, I felt like I needed to speak to a psychologist, and psychologists were something like 63 kilometers away from my house. I think you guys have watched my vlogs in EC, and I talk about how I have to have a long drive to Umtata for us to get the nice things. So yeah, like I had to drive like 60 kilometers to get a psychologist. And whenever you drive to Umtata in my household, you are not gonna take that trip alone. Everybody will want to go Umtata, because if you go alone, then that means it's a wasted trip. Okay, so I knew that if I was gonna leave the house and say I'm going to Umtata, my mom would want to come with me, and obviously going there would take me 40 minutes drive, and then another hour, let me say another hour with a psychologist. So that would be like 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours away from the house and from the baby. So definitely my parents would want to know where was I going and stuff like that. So that was just not an option. I couldn't tell my parents that I needed to see a psychologist. And now I found myself driving this other particular time, and the suicidal thought came again. So I had the same suicidal thought over and over again, like driving myself into a valley with my car. And the suicidal thought came again, and there I stopped my car, pulled out my phone, and I dialed the depression hotline. And that lady, I can't even remember her name, but she assisted me. I think the one thing she said to me that made me to know that I was going to be okay is that, Zanele, it is normal for you to feel like that. Every single feeling you have, it is not your fault. It doesn't mean you love your daughter less. It doesn't mean you love your life less. It doesn't even mean you care less. But it is normal. It happens to a lot of women. A lot of women goes through postpartum depression, but they don't talk about it. Nobody speaks about it. So it's normal for you to feel like that. It's okay for you to feel like that, and you are going to pass through it. You know, from that phone call, I allowed myself to feel every feeling. And when there were feeling of happiness and joy, I didn't feel the guilt that a few minutes before that I was shutting the whole world out. I started accepting things that I couldn't do, and I started embracing things that I could do. I embraced my weaknesses. I also embraced my strength, and I also started to see and realize my limitations, that this I can take in and this I cannot take in. And as I've said, I had like great friends. It's amazing. The only friend that knew about my situation was actually Kate. And some of my friends did not even know, but they would just call me and I would take their calls, and they would just be funny over the phone, and that would lighten up my mood. And the other thing that really helped me, it was me not always magnifying my problems. Like, I decided to stop magnifying my problems. Like, if my daughter would get sick, I would stop wanting to overanalyze that, wanting to share with everyone that my daughter is not fine, that this and this is not okay, this and this is not okay. I started to magnify the things that were going great over my life and the things that I was enjoying at that particular time. I started counting my blessings. I know it sounds so cliche that you should count your blessings, and not magnify your problems. But I did that. I stopped magnifying my problems. If I had lack during that particular time, I would just ignore it, and I'd be like, I'm not gonna die simply because I don't have this particular thing right now, so I'm just gonna like let it be and enjoy what I have at this particular moment. And my parents were supportive in their own way, even though they didn't understand what I was going through. You know, after I had came out to my family and to my mom was like, you had what? I could see that there was something that was different with you. I even told your dad that this is not the Zanele I know, but I just did not think you are having depression. You know, our families know us to be strong people. They know us to be strong-willed people, and they don't think that we can break sometimes. Not that they are inconsiderate or selfish, but I think the amount of strength we portray to our families, it tends to make them believe so much in us, to a point where they think we don't have weaknesses and that we will never break. So yeah, I started getting a lot better when I focused more on the good things that I had in my life at that particular time. I think with depression, it makes you feel like nothing is good right now, and there is no way you are going to escape that feeling. It is all a lie. It is definitely a lie. I'm not only sitting here as a qualified professional nurse with 5 years of experience in the health sector. I'm also sitting here as someone who has survived postpartum depression. It's a complete lie. I think in a space of what, 3 months, when my daughter was 3 months, I was okay. I was fine. I was back to myself. I was back into doing the things that I loved doing, even though I could not go and compete in Japan anymore, but still continued doing my pets drive in the Eastern Cape. And I just tried to go back to the drawing board and create a new vision board. And yeah, that's basically how I conquered postpartum depression. I've had 2 ladies already who have contacted me and telling me that they've watched that video that I shared previously on postpartum depression, and they just wanted to speak to someone that understands. And I am here to say, even if you haven't contacted me and you just had your child and you don't understand this feeling that you have towards your child, you don't understand why you cannot connect with your child, you don't understand why you have so much annoyance and hatred, some sort, towards the world or towards how life is playing out right now, you don't understand it. I want to say to you, you don't have to understand it, but I want you to know that you are going to go through it and you are going to come out of it. You are going to come out of it strong, and when you come out of it, you will look back at it and realize that that situation was nowhere near greater than the strength that you have. You are amazing. When you feel like you are down, allow yourself to feel those emotions. Don't want to say, I'm not feeling that way, I'm not sad. Don't try to fake it. Don't try to fake it to anyone. Allow yourself to feel that way. If you want to cry it out if it makes you feel better. I know crying makes me feel a lot better. So if crying will make you feel better, please do cry. And if you don't feel like you want to spend a lot of your time with the baby, because I know that also happens where you disconnect with the child, if there is someone that can help you with the baby, let that particular person assist you. If your partner can help with the baby, let them assist with the baby. If your parents can help with the child, let them assist. Just let them know that you are not in a right space mentally to be handling the child all by yourself. And if you are not coping, seek assistance and seek any form of support from your families and your loved ones. Do not act like a superhero. Don't want to be a superhero. I think one of the things that was putting a lot of pressure on me, it was that I didn't want people to come in and assist me. Okay, like if I was needing something, I was not gonna be that girl who texts somebody and says, hi, I'm in need of this, can you assist me with that? I was not gonna be that. I was not that type of girl. And I think it is wrong. It is wrong for a person to not ask for help when they need help. Okay, it is only fair and it is only normal for us as human beings to need other human beings to help us navigate our lives so that we can have them in harmony. So do not be shy to ask for assistance from people that really cares about you, because you don't want to ask for assistance from Zanele, and the next thing Zanele tells the whole township about your struggles and how you had a baby that you didn't plan for and now you are making your problems hers. No, you don't want to ask assistance from such people. People will come back and rub it into your face. We don't need those. But if you have people who genuinely cares about you, people who truly loves you, then you can definitely ask those people to jump on board. I think that for people to start normalizing depression, I am not only focusing on postpartum depression, because I know there are also people that suffer different types of mental illness conditions such as anxiety. So I think for people to understand mental health, us people who have experienced mental health, we need to let people in, people who haven't experienced it, because nobody is immune to mental health. That's the thing about mental health. You can never say I will never reach that point. Like, nobody can say that. Nobody can like just stand and say, no, I will never reach that point. There's no one who knows their breaking point. So us who have experienced this thing, we need to come out and share our experiences. I think if we share our clinical manifestations, we need to like orientate people around the signs and symptoms of mental illness, different types of mental illnesses, not only depression or postpartum depression. We can educate people with the clinical manifestations so that when they see them on their loved ones, or even better, when they themselves experience those symptoms, they may know what is wrong with them. So yeah, this video is quite long, but I hope I did it justice this time. Okay, even though the electricity was a bit jealous, I had a 2-minute load shedding, which was really annoying, but I'm glad I was able to finish it up. Let us be there for one another. When you are a medical doctor, you can have depression, you can have postpartum depression, you can have anxiety. When you are a nurse, you can experience those. And actually one of the ladies that contacted me is an RN. And sometimes postpartum depression comes into the second pregnancy. You know, when you would have your first pregnancy and everything would be normal, everything would be nice, everything would be okay, and then comes your second pregnancy and you get to experience postpartum depression. It even goes to a point where maybe in your first pregnancy you didn't have it easy, like your expectations of having children were not met, and now having a second child, it might trigger postpartum depression. But I just want people to know that it is okay sometimes to go through such seasons of our lives, because every time we look back, we realize that we are actually stronger than any situation or any odd that is meant to be against us. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, if you find it informative, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have advices, comments, and anything you want to say about today's topic, go ahead and drop them on the comment section down below, and subscribe to this channel if you are a new person on here. I will definitely see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.